Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the walk. Today is Friday, January 31st, and we are moving into another section of Ezekiel 33. We are up to verse 21, and this is what it says. In the 12th year of our exile, in the 10th month, on the 5th day of the month, a fugitive from Jerusalem came to me and said, "The city has been struck down." Now, there's a note in the Cultural Study Bible that says, news came to Ezekiel and the exiles in Babylon that Jerusalem had been conquered, fulfilling his prophecies and confirming his message to the people. His ministry changed at this point. He now began to prophesy about redemption, salvation, rescue, release, and freedom, and restoration for Judah at some future time. In the Apologetic Study Bible, it says, the date of this message was early 585 BC, nearly 2 years after the fall of Jerusalem. The text offers no explanation for the delay of news of the fall to reach Babylon. Ezra gave the travel time as 5 months. The news may have come from a refugee who hid along the way to avoid Babylonian troops. Another suggestion is a possible copyist error, that there is only a one-letter difference in the Hebrew spelling for the 12th year and the 10th year. The Septuagint and the Syriac Aramaic versions adopted that solution. Still another possibility is that Jerusalem's fall occurred in the summer of 586 BC, or instead of early 587 BC, in which case the 12th year should be read the 11th. That would reduce the time span to 6 months, which better fits Ezra's timetable. Okay, according to the Cultural Study Bible, it said this date is January 19th, 585 BC. It is about 5 months after the fall of Jerusalem and a man who had escaped from Jerusalem. Most commentaries agree that this is not a fugitive or even a refugee, but one of the survivors who has been brought captive to Babylon with the first wave of exiles from the destruction. So there's a little bit of debate about when this was, whether or not there was a copy error or not, but we know that the message is still the same. So we know we're given this time frame, and this fugitive comes from Jerusalem and comes up to Ezekiel, and he says, the city has been struck down. Verse 22, now the hand of the Lord had been upon me in the evening before the fugitive came, and he had opened my mouth by the time the man came to me in the morning. So my mouth was opened, and I was no longer mute. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, the inhabitants of these wasted places in the land of Israel keep saying Abraham was only one man, yet he got possession of the land. But we are many. The land is surely given us to possess. So what is this all talking about? Well, what this is talking about here is that they're saying the land was given just to Abraham. Why didn't God save us? What's going on here? Then we get to verse 25. Therefore say to them, thus says the Lord God, you eat flesh with the blood and lift up your eyes to your idols and shed blood. Shall you then possess the land? So why is this being pointed out? Cultural Study Bible have the answer. It's because although every major translation uses the same phrase in this verse, in context it should read, you eat over the blood, referring to a pagan rite mentioned in Leviticus 19:26 and formally banned as a form of divination. So basically what it's saying here is you're participating in idolatry and it's not going to be tolerated. Verse 26, you rely on the sword, you commit abominations, and each of you defiles his neighbor's wife. Shall you then possess the land? Say this to them, thus says the Lord God, as I live, surely those who are in the waste places shall fall by the sword, and whoever is in the open field I will give to the beasts to be devoured. and those who are in strongholds and in caves shall die by pestilence. And I will make the land a desolation and a waste, and her proud might shall come to the end, and the mountains of the Israel shall be desolate, that none will pass through. Then they will know that I am the Lord, when I have made the land a desolation and a waste because of their abominations that they have committed. Bottom line, God's not going to put up with the idolatry. Verse 30. As for you, son of man, your people who talk together about you by the walls and at the doors of the houses, say to one another, each to his brother, come and hear what the word is that comes from the Lord. And they come to you as people come, and they sit before you as my people. And they hear what you say, but they will not do it. For with lustful talk in their mouths they act, and their heart is set on their gain. So basically they're listening to him, but they're not heeding that warning. Think about what we talked about on Monday when we talked about what a watchman is. That watchman is only responsible to give the warning. Verse 32. And behold, you are to them like one who sings lustful songs with a beautiful voice and plays well on an instrument. For they hear what you say, but they will not do it. When this comes, and it will, then they will know that a prophet has been among them. So God is declaring that you were told to give the warning, you've given the warning, they're ignoring it. And when the warning happens and comes to fruition, then they're going to know that you are a prophet. The same is true for us. When God calls us to speak, we need to speak with boldness. And even if it's not received, remember that when that does come to pass, or when it does happen, that person's going to come back to you and say, you know what? You had some merit in what you said. I should have listened. Is God telling you anything else? Or maybe it's one of those situations where you're told to share something about Christ and it falls on deaf ears. They won't pay attention to it. But way, way, way down the road, they remember what you said and they come back to you and say, hey, I want to hear more about that. Now I'm ready to listen. So we need to remember to not shut the door on those people because they may come back to it. Today is Friday, so I'm going to remind you, no video Saturday, Sunday, but I'll be back with you on Monday. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.